Tamra. This, my love, is what they call karma.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. Okay, woo! The Real Housewives of Orange County, season 19, episode 15. Okay, so we open with this like dramatic nonsense following last week's craziness. Jen and Gretchen are sitting down and they're reflecting on what happened last week at the end of the party with her and Tamara blowing up, and basically rolling all the bean footage leading up to that. Um, it's funny, Gretchen, you're trying to play innocent like you didn't bring up the whole vocals and recording situation, which of course propelled into something even bigger when we learned, when they decided to get messy and call Slade. But it's just funny to me how you're trying to be like, well, I didn't intend for that to happen. Girl, this is reality television. Like, what are you talking about? Please stop playing innocent. One thing this episode really showed, I think everybody, if you didn't already know it, Gretchen, you a snake too, homie. You a snake. And Tamra, this is the karma that you deserve. This is what you get. And now your ass is in the hot seat and you can't take it. You never could, but now you really can't. You really can't. It's amazing. Quite amazing. But anyway, so they're talking about what happened, and Gretchen is still trying to, well, I didn't mean for it to get, and then Jen's like, well, maybe we just need to understand who she is and basically leave her where she's at. I agree with that. Totally agree with that. Um, so Jen tells Gretchen, I wish that you were coming to Tamara's party. So Tamara's having this like spring fling party at the end of the episode. And they're going to be decorating these cakes. Those cakes look good and cute. The MVP of this episode was the cake maker lady, because homegirl was in the middle of all the bullshit. Her face, that was me. She was just like, that was hilarious. But anyway, so Gretchen's like, I rather, I don't want to go to that, blah, blah, blah. So next scene, we're at Tamara's house. She is getting her house ready for this spring fling situation. And Eddie joins her outside. And of course, because that's her Kiki buddy, um, she's informing him about what happened with Gretchen. Here, I see why y'all are married. Eddie, have you ever watched this show and seen how your wife acts? I mean, you're there in the scenes with her. And you think this behavior is okay? You think that she's always the victim? Because basically in this scene, it's pretty obvious. We've all been seeing it for years, but it's just another scene where Tamra is reiterating basically how I haven't done anything wrong. It's the facts. It's every excuse in the book. And then when you get what you give, you can't handle it. So she's telling him about the rumor that Gretchen, well, it is a rumor. We don't know if this really happened or not. But she starts telling him about how this took legs, and Gretchen is accusing her of having an affair with this pop singer, that it was recorded. So they're going off about that. She's telling him how she's mad at Heather for not sticking up for her. Um, I'll give you this, Tamara. I understand you being like, we've been friends for 12 years. You were in my wedding. Like, you just stick up for me once. I understand that. But there's a but. But, Tamara, you act like a damn fool. You do shit constantly to get the energy that you always get. So how can you defend that? How can Heather defend behavior that's not defendable? I'm sure she would stand up for you when you're correct. But we have yet to see that, darling. Yet to see it. Um, so basically she's like, F Gretchen, she's not ever coming in my house again. Whatever. My thing is you earned that. That shit was coming. You have been nasty for a long time. And it seems like this particular season, uh, specifically, it just seems like your ass is getting held to the fire in a different type of way, because the reality is the narrative with everybody is the same. And it's a narrative that we've all been seeing for 12 years. Okay. So after that, we go to Shannon. One more thing I want to add. So Eddie asked, did she invite Shannon? She says yes. So she's like, me and Shannon are good, I guess. Shannon actually reached out to her shortly after the whole fiasco, and regarding Teddy, and some giving her some holistic references or something like that. So she's like, maybe this is, Shannon's olive branch. So here's one thing I noticed in this scene. Tamara loves Shannon. And maybe I'm wrong. Correct me in the comments. I would love to hear other people's perspectives on that particular relationship. Here's the vibe that I get. I think she really does genuinely love Shannon and wants to be her friend. Because she even said in her confessional, I'm going to keep trying. I keep trying. Like, why are you trying for somebody that you don't like, that you don't care about? But I think Tamara knows, she knows she really hurt Shannon's feelings. She fucked up. And she wants Shannon to brush it under the rug. Sorry, Tamara. Not everybody's ruled by the planet Mercury, darling. Not everybody can brush everything under the rug. That's from my astrology. That's from my astrology people. If to know me, to know is I'm an astrology person. Um, Tamara is a Virgo. She's ruled by the planet Mercury. I'm a Gemini. I'm also ruled by the planet Mercury. So we talk a lot of shit. And sometimes when we wrong on stuff, we just want to brush it under the rug, and we want you to do it too. Tamara, you can't do that with Shannon, not this time. Somebody like Shannon, who is a Pisces, they need to see the work. You got to put in the work. And the gift of gab is not going to get you out of this one. Um, it's almost sweet in a weird, creepy kind of way that she like loves Shannon, but to love somebody and speak to her and treat her and talk about her the way that you do is pretty wild. Which is why I see why your ass is in therapy. And clearly you need hundreds of more sessions after this episode, because you a trip. You are incapable of accountability. You are incapable of self-reflection. And that's scary. That's scary. You raise kids with this mentality. Very scary. Very scary. So anyway, so the next scene, Shannon and Heather meet up at this like art place, and it's a they're doing a project where they break like this pottery, and they have to build it back together, and it represents rebuilding relationships and things like that. This was a cute little scene. Um it's funny too. Heather and Shannon, when they're not beefing, they have a great rapport. Very cute scene. The funny thing too is they're the closest in age. I think they have a lot more in common together than they do with the other girls. Just saying. Um, so of course they're talking about the Gretchen and Tamara of it all. And it's interesting because Heather's like, I didn't want, Heather wasn't trying to be messy in that scene. It just came out like that. And even when they play the scene back, she even said, like, I just wanted to hear the recording. I wasn't trying to hear all this extra stuff. And even wanting to listen to the bad vocals is messy, but I think that's innocent enough. I don't think she anticipated the situation, or the conversation transitioning over to she's banging this pop star and we got it on recording. So but it was funny when Shannon was like, how do you moan while you're singing? And Heather imitated it. Heather. So in this scene, as they're laughing about it, Shannon being messy. Listen, everybody's messy. If no one was messy on these shows, there would be no show. But Shannon tells Heather about how they were all kind of snickering about her doing improv, groundlings, and comedy. And Heather took offense to it. I totally understand. She's like, I've been doing this for years. I was a sitcom actress. I did stand-up comedy. I understand where Heather's coming from. She felt like, I understand Heather. I mean, Heather feels like, I have these accolades that I work hard for, and they're kind of making fun of them and laughing at it. But it is what it is. This is the group. Heather, you shouldn't expect anything less from these ladies. But it was messy of all of them, but whatever. It is what it is. Shannon, okay, Shannon. So while they're at this like art project situation across town, Meanwhile, across town, Gina and Emily meet up at this store, this like cute boutique situation. They're of course rehashing everything. They're also talking about Emily's trip with Gretchen and Heather and the whole sleepover thing. They are talking about when they were discussing Tamra, and Emily's asking Heather, would you trust, or Heather says, would you trust Tamara with sensitive information? And she's like, no. And Emily and Gina are talking about it. Emily's like, I'm smart. I would never. Like, I've watched what she's done to other people. Of course not. Um, and back over with Shannon and Heather, Shannon's talking about, she's like, Tamara told me that in Temecula that I'm a grudge holder. And Heather's like, I kind of feel like we all are. Um, I think this is, again, I've said this in every review this season, but I feel like with Shannon, her grudge, her true grit against Tamara is merited. Look how Tamara's Tamara's been talking shit and making fun of her since the day she met her. I'll never forget the Green Martians comment. She's never been cool. That's why I think it's crazy that she's like, I'm gonna keep trying to be her friend. Like, it's weird. It's like you want to be her friend so you can torture her. Is that what you're doing? Is that what we doing, Tamara? Okay. Anyway, so after that, we go to Jen and her two sons are going to the tattoo shop. Her one son that joined the Marines is getting 777 across his heart. This was a cute little scene. Jen got some pretty looking kids. Her kids are good looking, and they seem like they're good kids. This was a good scene. They talk about Ryan and the wedding, and the boys seem to like Ryan. Everybody's cool. Very interesting to learn that in this scene, Jen talks about in her confessional about her husband sitting all their kids down and telling them that Ryan, this is the man your wife, or this is the man that your mother's, this man stole your mother from me, basically. That's crazy that her ex-husband would do all that, but you know how spouses are. People act funny when they're scorned. But we don't know the ins and outs of that. I'm not going to speak on that. I'm just going with what I see. Get that right. So in this scene, when her son is getting the tattoo, he ends up fainting. That was kind of crazy. Jen was freaking out. But what's wild is the tattoo people, you could tell they were so used to it. They were like, it's cool. They knew they grabbed the smelling salt, got the water, got the cold cloth. They business as usual, finished the tattoo. That was wild to see though. I've fainted a couple times in my life, so it's interesting to see someone else fainting because I know it's scary for the person who's not fainting in the moment. Obviously, the person fainting it is too, but it was interesting too that it was actually captured on camera. Pretty wild. So after that, we have a scene with Emily, Shane, and their kids. Cute scene, just learning more about Luke and his diagnosis. And we learn now that his doctor or his therapist seems to be more focused on his learning disability versus the autism. Here's what's wild. Emily didn't know that her son couldn't read. I guess he's 4 in the 4th grade. Is that what she said? The 4th grade? How do you not know your son can't read? And I know she kept saying, oh, that's wild because he's advanced in other areas. Is it one of those things where the kid is so intelligent you almost just assume? I don't know. I thought that was wild. That totally jumped out at me. I was like, wow, okay. So we get to the day of this spring fling situation, and everyone's getting ready for it. Shannon FaceTimes Gretchen. Gretchen is taking spring photos with Slade and their daughter, looking like a pink dream with this beautiful grassy background. It actually looked really pretty. And at one point, she's holding a rabbit. So Shannon FaceTimes her, and Shannon's like, I'm just checking in on you because I know you're not coming today. And Gretchen's like, it's fine. I'd rather be here. This was just, Gretchen, you know damn well if you were invited, your ass would have went. I don't know. Gretchen, it's funny, Gretchen, to me, you and Tamara are very similar, but in different kind of ways. You guys have different tactics. And it's interesting to see that she's just over there sitting pretty. I'm over here taking pictures with my husband, the rabbit, and the kid. I'm living my best life. And she's like, I'm out here having a great time. You're the one that I'm worried about. Exactly. Exactly. So we get to Tamara's house. They're still putting the finishing touches on everything. Tamara actually looked really nice. I loved her dress. It was like a green dress with pink flowers on it. It was cute. She looked cute. Everybody looked cute for this like spring situation. The cake lady comes. Little, I wonder if she knew what exactly her ass was getting herself into. I bet she was a lot more than she bargained. So Emily's the first one to arrive. So Emily and Tamara are kikiing in the kitchen. Emily brings up the whole Gretchen thing. They're talking about that. So as they're discussing that, Emily starts telling one thing. Emily, you're very messy, but I got to give it to you. You're messy, but you will own your part in the mess. I have nothing but respect for that. I'm sorry. If you can take accountability painfully, even when it hurts to tell the truth, you all right. So I appreciate that. So they had been talking about Heather and Tamara really not feeling supported by her. Is crazy. Tamara, but okay. I'm not gonna waste a rant on that, but okay. Um, but Emily brings up a conversation they had with when she had the whole sleepover with Heather and Gretchen, and she says that she mentions that Heather doesn't trust uh Tamara. And she goes, and I want you to know that I said that I didn't either. And Tamara's like shocked. And she goes, well, let me explain why. And she goes, I feel like if I tell you important information about my life or myself, you may later use it against me or dig up something on me, which is all things she's done, by the way. Tamara is like, me? What? Me? Dramatic as that. What? That is so hurtful. You're saying you don't trust me? So I'm not trustworthy? So Emily, I love Emily, kind of loses it. And she goes, why are you acting surprised? She goes, you can't be, it can't be everybody else's fault all the time. Like, you're not always the victim about this, Tamara. Tamara storms off upstairs. And mind you, the cake lady is sitting there across on the other side of the kitchen, standing there watching all this shit. Probably like, oh, wow, okay. And Emily's like, well, this is awkward because I don't know where to go because this isn't my house. So after that, we see that Gina is pulling up. So Gina comes in, and what's funny, she comes in is Emily's talking to the cake lady, and she's just like, Tamara always does this. This shit had me dying. This poor cake lady's just like. So Gina comes in and she's like, oh my God. She tells her what happened. Tamara comes back down the stairs, greets Gina. Um, you guys, this was a mess. And it was funny. Gina's like, it's really bad if the host has already stormed off at the beginning of the party. Well, just you wait. There were a few more storming offs to come. So Tamara's kind of brushes over the Emily thing a little bit. They just kind of leave it there. They table it. So she starts talking about Jen. Jen is slowly about to pull up to the house, but she's telling them that so the pop star that she's being accused of messing with, she ended up reaching out to the wife. She's friends with the wife, or she said the wife reached out to her. It would make sense for her to reach out to the wife, in my opinion. Make sure that was on. And the wife tells her that Jen started following him, I guess, on Instagram. And so Tamara pulls out a screenshot printout of showing that Jen was following him. And she's like, why would she follow him? What is that about? And Emily's like, maybe she wants tickets. They're all kind of laughing about it. And Tamara's like, well, I don't understand why she would follow him. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean she's following him, and why is she following him? Who cares? What's wrong with you? This is what happens when you don't whoop your kids' ass when they're kids. They grow up to be an entitled brat like this one. Something's wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. And this episode confirmed it times 1,000 for me and probably quite a few other people. You really over here pulled out a screenshot that you took the time to print out of Jen following said pop star. Girl, shut up. Tamara, grow up. Tamara, you're a mess. Wow. So Jen ends up coming in, surprising them because no one answered the door. So she just lets herself in. She didn't hear them. She didn't hear Tamara, but she clearly walked in on her ass getting talked about. She didn't notice it though. She's looking at the cakes and how cute everything. Well, Tamara's house was decorated really cute. So the rest of the ladies end up showing up, following suit. They all get outside, get around the fire pit, and that's when the shit starts popping. It just it just seemed like this spring fling birthday, not birthday, spring fling cake decoration party situation. It just seemed like it got worse and worse. So they get outside and somebody mentions Gretchen and they're like, "Well, I talked to her." And then Tamara's like, "Well, I mean, she believes all her lies. Didn't you say that, Heather? Isn't that what you said?" Just confrontational. Heather's like, "No, I said that she believes that what she's saying is to be true. So she believes what she's saying. Hence, it's her truth." Tamara, of course, don't want to hear all that. And I can understand Tamara in that moment because it's like even if someone is sharing their truth, sometimes their truth could be the lie. Um, it's funny because in this situation, Tamara or Gretchen, you're in the. I mean, Gretchen, I think you're lying about some stuff. But again, Tamara, what I say last week, you wrote a check your ass couldn't cash. That's just what it is. So Heather is trying to explain. She's like, of course she doesn't think that she's lying because she's telling you her truth. So then Tamara's like, well, then she's a sociopath. Heather's Heather is just like I never called her a sociopath, and she's like, well, that's what she is, and she goes just like the stuff about me drugging her, and so Emily relates something comparing something to Katie, and she goes, Tamara goes chooses the moment to announce, well, I'm going to be sitting down with her. I talked to her, and they're like, what? She goes, yeah, I talked to her because I want to get to the bottom of this. What Gretchen said. She said that I drugged her. So they in her confessional, she reiterates what Bravo actually rolls the bean footage. And Katie is sticking to her story about what Gretchen said. And you know what, Katie, you done lied about a lot. And I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think she's lying about this Gretchen situation. I think Gretchen sat there and said that she was schmugged. I'm trying to get monetized. I think she was I think that she thinks that something was slipped in her drink and made her act the way that she did. But she's contradicted herself quite a few times. And the other thing is Katie and her husband are standing on the fact that Slade was trying to get ahead of it, telling them all to like work together, basically not to let this basically to be quiet. So that's Tamara's thing. Tamara's like, well, that's why I want to sit down with Katie. I want to get the details. I want to get these receipts. Emily didn't like that. So Emily's like, well, wait a minute. So you're gonna sit down with her after the way she attacked my family and called her a racist, talking about Gina. Again, Gina, I don't think you were trying to be racist, but you were. You did. You can't get mad at how somebody receives something. And like I said, you got to be aware of the room. You got to be aware of where you're at. You got to be aware of what you're saying. We live in America. That's just how it is, honey. It's just what it is. I don't think you were trying to, but it's how you came off, um, which I think is a big tone deaf issue. But we're not going to get into all that. I'll say this. I think sometimes some people will say racist stuff and not even think that it's racist. They won't even realize that they're saying it and they won't even realize that it is. That's what I mean by tone deaf. We still love you, girl, but you can't get mad if that's how she received it, despite her track record. And same with the situation with Tamara. I agree with you, Emily, but I can also see Tamara's side to this because Tamara, and I believe Gretchen, I believe Tamara on this. We all know Gretchen is bullshitting with her. Even off the show, on the different podcasts, previous cast members are saying that Gretchen is lying. That one lady, Lynn, even though Lynn, you was drunk pretty much your whole season, baby. But okay, you had your own stuff. But they all were saying like she's never mentioned this. Vicky even said it. So who knows? Who knows? But I don't think Katie is lying about to what happened specifically to this. Forget Naked Wasted. It's the behavior and the actions of Gretchen and Slade after this when that information was shared with them. That's what I think the issue is. And that's why Tamara is sitting down with Katie. Emily, you can stay mad, but the reality is Katie has done nothing no worse than anybody else has done in this group. You're talking to Tamara Judge, who's done way worse. She's done stuff so bad that she got sued. Remember Jim Bellino? He sued her for the shit that she was saying. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So Tamara can't handle Emily coming at her. But again, Tamara, you brought it on yourself, darling. So she gets up, she leaves, she walks into the kitchen. They're all talking about it. And of course, they're just like, why is she getting so upset? And Shannon's like, because she can't take it. Tamara is in there bitching to the cake lady. Heather comes in and she's just like, I'm so disappointed in you, Heather. You didn't have my back. And Heather's like, what? Heather's like, I'm disappointed in you, the stuff that you say. So they start going at it. Let me tell you something. Tamara, the chickens have come home to roost on that ass. They have come home to roost on that ass, and you can't handle it. You can't handle it. Heather brings up how she was disappointed in Tamara for what she said about her being in the groundlings and doing comedy. They start arguing about that. And Tamara's like, oh, and Shannon's outside because she can hear it. And she's like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble now because I said something. Tamara looked defeated because she wasn't even trying to argue. She was like, oh, okay. And she goes, I never said that. Well, why don't you ask the other ladies what they said, So she calls Gina in there. Her and Gina and Heather get into it. Gina, you were being snarky though. Gina's like, I never known you to be a funny person, Heather. That was kind of funny. They pull each other to the side. They talk about it. We get back in. The ladies are now doing this cake situation. They're decorating the cakes. And the tension is real. The tension is real. Um Nothing is ever going to get resolved in this group if the people who are having the main problems don't take accountability. Tamara, you are proving that you can't handle the truth. So the ladies are continuing to decorate their cakes. The drama's kind of stopped. Tamara's quiet. They finished decorating the cakes. The cakes look cute. And it was funny. They're like to the cake lady, do you want to judge them? And she's like, absolutely not. And they all start laughing. So Tamara's standing there, hand on hip, looking defeated. She's like, well, after the tactical plays, I left really upset. So I called such and such's wife, which is this pop singer's wife. And she sent me this. So she pulls out the printed out screenshot of Jen following him on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. And they're all like, okay. So Jen is even like, so, and she's like, why did you feel the need to do that? At 5:22, why did you feel the need to follow him? And she's like, damn, the time? She's like, I don't know. And she's like, you weren't trying to be messy. And she's like, so they kind of get into it. Jen's like, girl, whatever. They go outside. So they're all, and Tamara's still standing in the kitchen feeling defeated. Um, she's feeling defeated because she's not winning. No one's feeding into your bullshit this time. People are actually standing their ground with you and you can't handle it. So they're outside and they're like, Jen, and Shannon even asked Jen, like, why did you follow him? And she's like, I don't know. Emily's like, it was a little messy. And she's like, I guess. She's like, I don't know. Um, and so of course Jen in her confessionals is saying, like, well, I was hoping maybe if he saw my name following him, he would give me some information. Okay, girl. Okay. So they're all still outside. Heather feels the need to go in and check in on Tamara. They're all like, I don't understand it. She says she doesn't trust her in LA, but she goes in and checks on her. So she goes in, Tamara upset, defeated. She sits there, she stands there. Heather's like checking in on her. They start going at it again. And Tamara's whole thing is, you don't trust me and you said that and I don't understand and I'm just done. I'm just done. And she's crying. Heather's trying to tell her side. It's going nowhere. They're outside like, oh, she's quit the show again. She's quit again. Heather is just like, okay, girl. Tamara is crying, walks away. Heather walks outside. She's quit again. Blah, blah, blah. It's ridiculous. They all come back in. Emily and her are trying to talk to Tamara. It's just getting worse. She's not understanding why they feel the way they feel about not trusting her. It's like she's not accepting their truth. And the funny thing is, everyone's saying this. Everyone's been saying this. Heather's trying to calm her down. Heather's like, listen, I know that you're upset. Let's just talk about this another time. And Tamara's like, I'm done. Have a great season. She starts pulling at her mic and she walks upstairs and they're just like, they go back outside and they're like, yeah, she's done. Shannon's like, I'm so sick of this. So they all just kind of leave. They leave the cakes and it's left there. Um, Tamara, you're a mess. You need to grow up. Like, you need to grow up. And whatever, I hope you're still in therapy. I don't know. Maybe you need a new therapist. I don't know. The behavior this episode was just true to form, appalling, not very demure, not cute at all. Anyway, happy Saturday, you guys. Hope you are enjoying the fresh new October. Halloween's coming. Oh my God. Anyway, be nice to each other, stay hydrated, and I'm gonna go return these videotapes.